Welcome back. I get a lot of comments and questions like, whoa, how are you gonna thin? I thought you said you really like to thin. Or, why are you using mulch? I thought you hated mulch. Or whatever. So there's all kinds of things, these comments, right? Now, you must know, I write gardening books for a living. That doesn't mean that I'm an awesome expert on gardening, though I should be. It doesn't necessarily follow, I am an expert, trust me. But what I bring that up for is that I use a variety of methods all the time. And I experiment, and I scattershot, and I try different things. So when you are watching me on YouTube, you are seeing what I am doing, not necessarily what I recommend, if that makes sense. I'm inviting you to join me in my laboratory and get involved with the experiments and try this stuff out. I'm not saying this method is the end all. Definitely make biochar. Definitely treat this like this, or this like this, or this like this. Gardening is a really massive topic, and there's no way to absolutely master it completely. As soon as you think you've really figured it out, you'll see some video from Vietnam and somebody showing how to do this and that and the other thing. You say, man, I never saw anything like that before. So don't get too hung up. If I do something like, what is this? Oh my goodness, he tilled this huge area and he threw seeds all over it. Well, didn't you just do a video on thinning? How are you gonna thin that? Yes, I did do a video on thinning. And you can see over here, I still haven't finished all my thinning. Nice, neat rows. Hey, that's pretty good. Then I throw all these seeds over here. That's total anarchy. And what about this? What about? I thought that like grocery row gardening was your like total major thing forever and ever. Amen. These are grocery rows. Look at that. These are mostly no-till beds. Look at all that mulch. David, I thought you didn't like mulching your gardens. This area is mulched. This area I usually hoe with a hoe. I got to get around to doing that again. There's some turnip greens that are growing in my grocery row gardens. Okay, that's one way to grow turnips. Let me show you another way to grow turnips. Look at that. Those are turnips. I actually like this way of growing turnips better. You should definitely do this way, and that is it. Don't ever grow turnips in any other way than this. I mean, I only grow turnips in two ways. I put them in my grocery row gardens when I clear out a spot, and I put them in rows. Actually, oh, yeah. So these turnips, I just tilled an area of ground and I threw down some triple 13 and I just tilled them under with the tractor. But these definitely are the only three ways you should be growing turnips. Follow my advice and buy my book. These are the only ways to grow turnips, ever. What I want to do is invite you along and just to see what's going on, not necessarily to tell you you absolutely have to grow like this. I mean, people have written me and apologized, like, I'm sorry I grew in a raised bed with lumber and I didn't dig right in the ground and use the ground because, you know, I have a bad back or because I had this lumber laying around or something like that. No, that's fine. It's totally fine. I'm just a guy, you know? But I wouldn't worry about it too much. Like I said before, the primary goal is to grow food. And so when I get into a new area like I have here, I'm testing everything. Somebody told me that the way one of their neighbors used to grow turnips was he would just throw a bunch of seeds down and till them in the fall, and then he would harvest greens and seeds all winter. And I said, hey, that's a guy that lived around here and grew turnips. Let me try that. Well, guess what? It seems like it's working. Now, I'm not getting as beautiful turnips as I am in my single rows, and I think some of the turnips coming out of the grocery row gardens, when I get around to thinning them, are going to do really well. If you look at these turnips, well, they look pretty good. But these turnips right here were fed with alfalfa meal and with Steve Solomon's micronutrient mix. And they look the best. They've got great spacing. They've got very, very tasty leaves. The turnip greens are amazing off of these because of the micronutrients. I mean, you might look and say, oh gosh, there's bare soil. You're never supposed to have bare soil. Man, all testing. It's all trying. And I've told you why I like the bare soil. It's because I like to work in great big areas and be able to weed, and I like to be able to put down cover crops and till them under and build soil organic matter that way. But there's plenty of ways to garden, and I was just thinking about it. I said, you know, I'm going to just show you what's growing right now and show you that there's not just one right way to garden. I mean, if you think you found it, that's great. I always get excited when somebody says, hey, look at this, I tried this thing out and I grew, you know, 200 pounds of papayas. That's fantastic. Just keep growing food. Don't worry about it that much. People will let you down. Just about the point where you think you got everything figured out, you find something else and you go, oh, I didn't realize that. And then you got to reassess and you got to think it through. And, you know, you may be really, really hardcore on some diet or some gardening method or something like that for a while. And then, you know, over time you realize, I don't know if that is exactly the best thing for me, but I might have burned some bridges along the way. So I'm talking to myself as much as I'm talking to any of you guys, but just go ahead and experiment and really have fun and enjoy your gardens. Be thankful for the dirt that you have to play in and all of the many, many, many possibilities. I feel like sometimes God gave us this big toy box with a whole bunch of stuff in it that you can pull out and play with and experiment with and test and try, just like you give your kids, you know, here are some tools, go figure out how to build a tree fort, you know? Like, there's a lot of different ways we could do this thing. And don't worry too much. And as always, until next time, may your thumbs always be green.